Hey guys, bienvenidos a mi canal. Today we are going to be doing this freaking beautiful look. I can't tell you guys how much I love it, but we are going to be using the Natasha Denona Cranberry palette. I know that you guys can still get this, and it is just such a beautiful palette. This is the shade that I have in the center of my lid, and it is Life, and I use these two just to kind of build the intensity. I really ended up using every shade with the exception of the middle one, so it's amazing. I love it. It's so easy to use. This look is super easy, but guys, I bet you think it's way more complicated than it actually is. So if you want to see how I got this look, then let's go. Alright guys, so I'm starting with my Hydro Grip Primer by Milk Cosmetics, and I'm really just going to focus most of the product in the center of the face and then blend out. And it's starting to feel tacky. I'm going to take this Lorac eye primer and apply that all over my lids. Priming is very important, guys. I know that it's just an extra step, and people, especially when you're not someone that wears makeup regularly, you feel like it's something that you don't need to do, and it really is, depending on your skin type, I guess optional. But if you are someone that has like larger pores, or someone that has dry skin or oily skin, using a primer to really address your skin's needs is going to make a huge difference. I have oily lids, so for me, priming my eyes is a must. I'm going to take this MAC Studio Fix powder in NC40, and I'm going to set the primer, which it doesn't feel like I need to. It seems to be pretty, no, it's a little tacky, but when I apply the powder over it, it's very smooth. And often if your primer isn't set yet, you'll see the powder sticking to like the wet areas, and there wasn't any sticking or skipping. It looks good. So the other day on Instagram and on Snapchat, which I'm not big on Snapchat, to be honest with you guys. I've often thought about getting rid of my Snapchat because I just really don't use it. I asked you guys to pick between two looks, and the look that got the most love was actually the one that I really loved. So that's what we're going to do today. So I'm going to be using the Natasha Denona Cranberry palette. This is the one that came out last year. This color here is so stunning, and this is the one that people had a lot of issues with, and if you guys see, it's kind of cracked at the edges, which means that it's not very stable. So I am going to take this shade here with a large fluffy brush. I'm using a MAC 224, and I'm just going to lightly blend this shade into the crease. I'm going to take this fluffy brush, and this is by Royal and Langnickel, and this is a large crease brush. And I'm going to go into this shade here, and I'm just going to lightly dip my brush into that and then rock the shade back and forth. My son has been saying sucia or sucio, which is like dirty boy or dirty girl. And right now I don't know what he's playing, but he's screaming and he's saying sucia, like dirty little girl. He's talking a lot more, and he's actually talking in Spanish, which was something that is very important to me. I only speak to him in Spanish, and so now he's saying things in Spanish, which makes me happy because the English he picks up easily. You know, my husband and I speak English to each other. Every now and then I'll speak Spanish to him, but for the most part, I would say 90% of the time he and I are speaking English to each other, and then he hears other conversations, so the English is just rolling right out of his mouth. And I was worried that he wasn't going to pick up the Spanish, but he's definitely picking it up. So the other thing I did was I took this shade here, and with a flat shader brush, you just pick up the color. I'm just pressing the brush into it, tapping off any excess, and I'm going to push this into the outer corner. So when I did this look the first time, I had actually used this shade all over the lid, and it looked really pretty. I think I'm going to do the same thing. I was actually going to just do a darker outer corner, but I feel like I always do that. So I'm just going to take this color and I'm pushing it into the lid. So the more you push this color, the more you're building up the pigment. Whereas if you're dragging or blending, you're really going to get a diffused version of it. So like, watch. Once you start to do that, it shears a color out. I don't want to shear this color out. I want to build it up. So I'm just pressing and kind of dragging to apply the color. And then wherever you see like any gaps or patchiness, go ahead and build. So I'm going to take my brush and then blend this out again. So this is the tedious part because blending does take some time, and as you guys can see, like I have some skipping that always happens in this inner corner. I always tell you guys about this, and it's just because my lid droops a little bit on this eye. So blending is one of those love-hate situations because you really want to make sure that everything is very soft and diffused, and while you're doing that, you're also shearing out the pigment. Don't worry about the pigment or the intensity of it because we're going to touch it up. Right now, you really just want to make sure that everything is nicely diffused outward. So I'm going to go back in with that same dark shade, and I'm just going to press where I need it because as you guys saw, I maintained most of the pigmentation on the outer corner. So wherever I need just a little touch up, I'm going to go ahead and add that cranberry color. This is such a beautiful color. It's such a beautiful palette. And I think I didn't really use it a ton because I was scared of breaking it or having issues with it because it was there's so much concern with the fragility of these palettes. I think they came out last year. It was this one and then this guy here. I had issues with this one too, and I'm definitely going to play with it. I'm trying to really put my makeup to use and limit the amount of product that I'm buying because I'm not going through it enough. I just have to slow my roll. I'm going to go ahead and do this other eye. Before we go any further, I'm going to take my concealer. This is by Fenty, and this is in the shade 290, and I'm just going to start applying this and letting it sit so that it's nice and pigmented because as you guys can see, I have dark circles, and I want to make sure that I'm getting as much coverage as I can from this concealer. I'm probably going to end up using a second concealer because sometimes I find that with this shade, it doesn't have like that peachy undertone that I need because that cancels out the darkness. So I'm going to take my Juno & Co sponge and we're going to let that sit for a little bit actually. I'm going to get my foundation ready. So for today I'm going to be mixing Dose of Colors 123 with Touche Éclat BD50. I'm going to take 2 pumps of this and I'm going to take half of this. And the reason is because the YSL foundation is a little too pinky for my liking. Really, it looks atrocious on me. When I mix it with a Dose of Colors, then you get this additional warmth to it. So it ends up blending and looking better on my skin. So I'm just going to go ahead and pounce this. Man, I love the way YSL foundations smell. Love. I was on the Sephora website. Surprise, surprise, right? And I saw that the All Hours foundation they have like a little set for the holidays where you get, I think, 2 primers and their foundation, and I want to say it's like $45 or something, or $54, and it's a really good deal. So I was like, I remember I loved the All Hours foundation. I thought it was beautiful. The problem I've always had with YSL is just their shade selection, but like the actual product is stunning. Same thing with this product. So I know that they came out with additional shades, and I don't know if the shade is the issue so much as it is like the undertone, but I was really tempted to add it to my list. But I really want to get the Charlotte Tilbury foundation, and I have so many foundations that I've told you guys that I'm not going to be purchasing anytime soon. Like, I want to go through what I have before I add anything else. So I feel like I didn't add enough of that dose. I don't even think I did half a pump, to be honest with you, because as you guys can see, it looks pretty light. So I'm just going to take whatever's left over and then add it here. The coverage I love. It's just the color that feels off to me, but we'll fix that. I don't think we need an additional concealer. So I'm going to go in with my Fenty powder, which is the only powder I've been using lately. Actually, let's go with something else. I'm going to go in with Laura Mercier. I have not used Laura Mercier in a minute. Not on myself, at least. I use it on my kit all the time. I actually need to replace it. I had 2. I always carry 2 just in case. And I'm out. So I'm going to let that sit for a minute, and then I'm just going to quickly check out my eye makeup and see where I need to touch up a little bit, like these outer corners. I feel like I've lost some of the pigmentation. Just build where you need it, but that's good. I'm going to take whatever's left over on this brush, and I'm going to run it on my lower lash line here, just the outer corner. And then if you guys are wondering, this is a Bodyography flat shader brush. I love this brush so much. If you guys have watched enough of my videos, you know that the MAC 239 was my jam. And when they started their synthetic line, I purchased their brushes, and I couldn't get with it. Like, it was just horrible. I'm just blending the edges out. So the 239 wasn't the same. I needed a replacement because it's one of those brushes that for me is a must. So I purchased these after I saw Raw Beauty Christie, I think is her name. I love her. I love her. And she used this product, or this brush, and was like, oh, it's so good, and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, that looks like a 239. I bought one. Game over. Best dupe. And it's so good. And it's synthetic. So that's why I was a little reluctant. I'm like, it's not going to be as good. But it was amazing. So I'm going to go ahead and fill in my eyebrows, and then we'll come back to finish the rest of this look, and we'll let this bake just sit a little longer. Alrighty, we're gonna go back into this palette. I have my primer on. I didn't want to do my mascara just yet because I wanted to get this on first. So I'm gonna go in with this beautiful, look at this, super metallic, super pink, lilac-y shade, and I'm just going to place this in the center of the lid. So it's creating essentially like a halo eye. But we didn't leave the center clear because we really just want to have that deep burgundy shade as the base for this. So it makes it just pop a little bit more. So I'm just building this, and with my finger blending upward and then towards the sides. Don't worry if you feel like you've gone a little too close to the outside in the inner part of the eye, because we are going to take our brush and just kind of blend where we need more pigment. I love this palette. It's gorgeous. And honestly, like, Natasha Denona does shimmers beautifully. I was thinking this morning just about like my kit, and a lot of my shadows are MAC, and it's just because that's where I started when I was building my kit and my business. And I was thinking like, you know, I think maybe it's time to retire a lot of those, because I find myself using a lot of like the Anastasia shadows, because her shimmers are also beautiful. And when I was looking for new shimmer shades, that's where I started, was with her, because she's affordable. But I was thinking that maybe I should at some point, not anytime soon, but at some point retire my MAC shadows. I'm gonna take that same flat brush and blend, just maybe get a few like palettes, because not, honestly, most people just want like a natural look or a smoky eye or something. I'm gonna take that same shimmer shade, the pink one, and then just really bring it up slightly above the crease. That's what I did the other day, and it looked really pretty. One of you recently commented that I was mom goals. Let me tell you guys, that's like the sweetest thing ever. My husband and I were talking about this yesterday. Like, it's hard for me to still film, and he's like, all right guys. So he was asking me like what my end game was, like, you know, he's like, well, what do you want with YouTube? And of course, if I could turn YouTube into a career, that would be, if I could turn YouTube into like a side hustle, I would love to do that. But the truth is, I don't know that I really can. I'm gonna take my mascara and just start applying that. So I told him, I said, at this point, I'm just doing it because I genuinely want to share my knowledge of makeup, my love of makeup with, you know, people. And so as long as I have people watching and wanting to learn from me, then I'm gonna keep doing it. And that's it. That's just really what it comes down to. And I was telling him that the first time I did YouTube, which was when I was in my early 20s, you know, I said maybe if I had stuck to it and not allowed for the mean people to get to me, and then also just like the lack of knowledge around technology and editing and stuff, you know, I said I think that I could have had a chance at being more successful, but I bailed. It's just one of those things where, do I regret it? Yeah, but at the same time, I don't think I was ready for it. And I've said this before, like emotionally, you know, sometimes you take a beating. And now I'm 35 and I don't care. I don't care what people say. We've gotten into this before. I know who I am. I love who I am. And nothing else matters, you know? People can think whatever they want. People can have assumptions. They can, you know, have whatever feelings they have about me, and it doesn't bother me. With that being said, at this point, I don't think I'll ever get to a point where I'm like super successful with YouTube. And like, I mean, just even looking, I don't even know what the hell is up. Like, I can't get my channel to really grow. So it's like I'm kind of stuck. I've been on YouTube for a few, I think 2 years now, maybe 3. And I'm not even at like 2,000 subscribers. But I don't care. It doesn't faze me. And you know how they say, like, with your friends, it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. That's how I feel about you guys. Like, so my audience isn't humongous, big deal. But recently, I'm going to put my mascara on my lower lash line. This is the MAC Extended Play Giga Black Lash. I have to say, in the last few, probably like 2 months, maybe 3 months, I have gotten some really great people to start commenting and just like supporting me. People that I don't know, because I think my channel is also a mix of a lot of people that I know and then people that I've never even met in my entire life. So I feel like most of my supporters are people I know. And there's nothing like having new people come by and just constantly like remind you that your passion or what you love is something that other people want to learn about and want to support you, and that's all that matters. So while the numbers do matter, they really don't. I'm really here just for the teaching opportunity and also playing with makeup and doing something that I love. So that is my story and I'm sticking to it. So I'm gonna go in with my palette. This is the Sir John Lion King collection palette. I haven't used this in a little bit. I purposely put it away. I'm gonna go in with my 2 favorite shades, do a little mixy mix, and then with a light fluffy brush. This is a MAC 137. I'm just going to dip into these and just lightly. Now I'm going to take the lightest shade in this palette. There you go. It's not the pretty pink one, but it is another pretty champagne color. And I'm going to take a flat shader brush. I was going to use this as a mirror. I'm going to hit my eyebrow and then blend outward and then bring whatever's left in. Boom. Let's do this eye. I think I'm going to go in with my finger. No, definitely not. I'm going to make a mess. I'm going to take that same shade and then also apply it to the inner corner. And then if you go a little further into the crease than you want, just take your flat brush and then fix it. Man, this is so pretty. I love, 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 love the way this looks. I'm going to be using this palette by Becca. It's the Chloe and Malika. And I'm going to do a mix of these guys here. We'll see if that's enough. I don't know what's up with this stupid lash, but I feel like it's thinned out. For my cheeks, I'm going to be using an oldie. This is MAC Stereo Rose Mineralized Skin Finish. And I want something that's like pinky peach and gives me glow. And I was hoping to get that from the Becca palette, but honestly, I needed something else. So I want to keep like the skin pretty simple and glowy. Alright guys, so for my lip, I ended up using a lip oil by MAC, and this is Vibrant Grape. Nope, I lied. Candy Drop. And any lip oil will do, really any lip combination that you feel comfortable with, but I wanted to keep the play on the eyes. I just think it's so freaking beautiful. Alright guys, so this is the final look. If you wanted to, you could totally add a liner to this look. I just really wanted to keep it as is. I mean, I love, love, love this shadow. I can't tell you guys, like, this is probably one of my favorite looks ever, and it's so easy. So I hope that you guys had an easy time following my tutorial and instructions, and if there is something that would be better for your learning style, let me know. I'm willing to try new things. So man, I love this look so much. It makes me so happy. I love you guys. Thank you so much for everything. I will see you guys soon. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.